People massively overestimate the impact of talent in their lives. They think that their outcomes are determined by intelligence, discipline, motivation, or willpower. These things do matter, don't get me wrong, but they are definitely not the main driver. The main driver is your environment. And this is not meant in a vague motivational sense, but rather in a mechanical, unavoidable sense. Your environment determines what behaviors are easy, what behaviors are rewarded, what behaviors are punished, and what behaviors feel normal. And so talent can only express itself inside those constraints. And so if you don't like the trajectory of your life, the odds are it's not because you're untalented. It's probably because your environment is quietly shaping you in directions that you never consciously chose. Talent is potential, and environment is the determining factor as to whether that potential ever can manifest, whether it can ever compound. For example, if you put a talented person into a dead environment, they will stagnate. Now, take an average person and put them into a high pressure and high signal environment, and what's going to happen? 9 times out of 10, they are going to grow. They're going to be lifted by the environment. This isn't motivational. This is literally observable. Most people look at outcomes and at successful people, and they credit those outcomes to personality traits, but they ignore the context that those traits were developed in. Behavior doesn't exist inside a vacuum. Behavior is a response to incentives, norms, friction, and reference points. And your environment controls all of that, whether you like it or not. When I say environment, I don't just mean geography. I mean the people that you're surrounded by, what's culturally considered to be impressive, what's considered to be embarrassing, what's rewarded, what's tolerated, what's culturally normal. Your environment sets the default for all of this. You don't wake up each day making fresh, rational decisions about who you want to become. You respond to the water that you're swimming in. And that's true whether you like it or not. For me, this moment became undeniable when I removed myself from literally everything familiar. Same person, same brain, same genetics, same goals, different environment. When I moved to New York City earlier this year, I literally didn't know anyone. No social expectations placed on me. The default operating system that had shaped my entire life up to that point disappeared. And what was left was just me. No momentum, no excuses, no inherited norms. And I had the opportunity to author my environment from scratch. And what happened next was my life changed very fast. And the most obvious change was actually physical, because you can't argue with it. It's the first thing you see, and the results are very tangible. I'd been training consistently for over a decade, and I'd never been shredded in my life. I'd never looked great. I just looked average. Not once had I been proud, genuinely proud of my physique. And within just 2 months in New York, I dropped around 10 pounds of fat and was in by far the best shape of my entire life. Same body, same effort, different environment. And this one still blows my mind in hindsight. Back when I was living in New Zealand or Australia, I was drinking probably 3 nights a week on average. Not excessive by any means, just normal. It was socially reinforced, it was expected. But in New York, I didn't drink alcohol once. And it wasn't because I made a heroic decision. I didn't even consciously decide that I was going to go sober. It just simply wasn't part of the environment that I was in at the time. I didn't see it as something that would help me at all with achieving my objectives. And again, it comes back to this idea of environment. It was the same person that was drinking 3 nights a week, but radically different behavior. And honestly, the same thing happened with work. Back in New Zealand and Australia, what was normal subtly capped my ambition. There's this tall poppy syndrome. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. It's sort of a cultural attitude that we have. Whereas in New York, ambition is not cringe. It is the operating baseline of very much the city. People talk openly in co-working spaces about what they're building, what they're chasing, what they want. And that alone, even just hearing those conversations, that changes your perspective and it changes what you will attempt. When your reference group shifts, your ceiling shifts with it. Most people think that they lack discipline, when really what they actually lack is an environment that supports the behaviors that they want. They blame themselves for outcomes that were largely engineered by the context that they exist within. And they try and fix these systemic problems with their own willpower. And ultimately they burn out, because environment doesn't just influence behavior, it shapes your whole identity. And what happens is you become who your environment makes it easy to be. And whether that's good or bad depends so much on where you are and who you're around. And here's the uncomfortable part. If environment matters more than talent, then staying in a bad environment has a real cost. Not immediately, but cumulatively. Comfort, familiarity, and loyalty all come with trade-offs. And the longer you stay somewhere that suppresses growth, the harder it is to tell whether you're really choosing your life or you're just inheriting it. Now, for the record, this isn't about running away from your life. It's about being honest with what's truly shaping you and whether or not your environment will actually help you achieve your objectives. Once you see environment clearly, responsibility shifts, not to self-blame, but to design. You stop asking the question, what's wrong with me? And you start asking, what kind of environment would make the version of me that I actually want to become inevitable? And really that question changes everything, because your outcomes are not a referendum on your talent. They are a reflection of the environment that you have been immersed in. Change the environment and your behavior follows, not magically, but mechanically. And once you understand that, growth stops being mysterious and it starts to feel engineered. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I drop one like this every 48 hours and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.